So a man actually, he's a professor, and he's spending some time undersea, underwater. He's at the bottom of the Atlantic for 100 days, and he's trying to see how they can rehabilitate certain environments at the deep sea level. And what he's also finding out is that he feels much younger being down there. He said he feels 10 years younger. He feels amazing.
Oh wow.
And so what they've found out is that, well, he's been there for 93 days and he's got 7 left to go, according to this article anyway. There are these parts of the chromosomes called telomeres. They're like at the ends of the chromosomes, I believe.
Okay.
And these get shorter and shorter as you age. But being inside of a pressurized oxygen chamber can actually help regrow them.
Oh wow.
So that's what might be happening with him right now. And what they've also found is that his metabolism is boosted. He's much leaner physically. And also his stem cell count is up.
And this is just from being down there 100 days.
Yeah. 93
Still.
days so far.
Although still, that's a commitment.
I would do it if it could help me that much.
I probably would too. Actually,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. So like, do they think it's like the pressure, the gravity?
Yeah, they think
down?
it's the chamber. They think that's what it is. The fact that he's in a pressurized oxygen chamber.
Wow. I want now, I don't know if we did a story on it or just maybe talked about it off camera, but there's that guy that's been like doing all these crazy things to try to like stop
Oh, that
aging,
guy, yeah.
like a very strict diet, very strict exercise.
Yeah.
I think he tried to like get his son's blood in him or something too.
Wow.
Some weird stuff. But now that guy's probably like
He's
thinking,
like,
oh, maybe I can just go to the bottom of the
This is the
ocean.
easy way to do it. Well, easy-ish.
Yeah, that's true. Like, how do you get to?
I mean, when it says pressurized, does that mean that you actually have to be at the bottom of the ocean for this to? That's what it sounds like. Like, you can't get pressure any other way, right?
Yeah, and also like, I'm wondering, like, would being in a submarine, for example, be enough, or does he have to be in whatever he's in?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. Because I mean, there are people who go in submarines down all the time.
I mean,
doubt
because
they
it is a
stay-
pressurized tube. But
Yeah. I mean, they're at sea for a long period of time too.
yeah.
I don't know. That's an interesting question. It might just be this part, this chamber, just because I've never heard of anybody else having this kind of reaction.
I wonder if there would be a scientific way to create a chamber on land that would mimic the pressure.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Because that could be a business model right there. You could make a lot.
Well, yeah, if this actually worked and you could sell like, but then it's like, how long would you have to stay in one of these chambers to really see the effect?
Right,
You know,
yeah.
would you have to like live in one like this guy's doing for months on end to see any sort of result?
Right.
And it still maybe it would be worth it, but
We don't know how long it's going to last for. I mean, these telomeres shorten over time. So I mean, I guess it is worth it if they regrow, and then you just, as long as they are long, that's fine. Go with it. Maybe it takes like 5-10 years for them to shorten for significantly, and then try it again.
you know what I always wondered is like, let's say someone actually did find out a way to straight up de-age somebody.
Yeah.
What would the government do once they found that out? Because obviously, overpopulation, like you can't have everybody living
Right.
forever or hundreds of years even.
Yeah.
And so like what would the government do to stop it? And so a part of me thinks that somehow just rich people would
Yeah.
be able to do it and nobody else.
Yeah. That's what I think too.
But like
Government and rich people.
yeah. But it does like it sucks because it's like if that's the thing, if anyone ever discovered to do it, you'd probably never be able to experience it yourself.
Yeah.
It would be safeguarded in some way.
Yeah, I agree.
The only way it wouldn't be is if we actually found a way to colonize space.
Yeah, then they'd be using it on everybody.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Like, there's no way they would let people live that long. No.
You know, a part of me, like, I've always wondered, I thought it would make a good, like, sci-fi story. Like, let's say there was a society that did create something like that. And so, like, you're basically go back to being, like, 20 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, imagine what dating would be like, because, like, everybody would look young like that. So, like, you could be dating someone who's 80 years older than you, they would
Yeah.
look young. You could be dating somebody 80 years younger than you.
Yeah.
How crazy would that be?
That would be absurd, yeah. Yeah, that would be, you'd have to make some laws, I think, or something, like some disclosing laws. That's nuts. Like, imagine, like, you're on your deathbed and you look like you're 20.
That would be crazy. Well, yeah, that's the thing is,
Like, would you die looking 20 or would you eventually age? Like, what would happen?
my guess is it would be up to you. Like, well, my guess is too, it would probably never be free. So it's like, maybe it's one of those things where, like, you let yourself age for a while and then you do it again and you go
Yeah.
back. Yeah. But that would be crazy too.
Yeah. There are animals that can do that, like sea creatures that can age and then, like, have a rebirth, basically, and then go through that cycle.
It'd also be crazy though, to where, like, let's say they did that, like, of course some people are still going to die in freak accidents or probably some sort of disease. Although you figure, like, if you're living in this scientific future where de-aging is possible, there's probably a lot of scientific breakthrough where people don't die as much from cancer and things.
Yeah.
But, like, to then actually be in a position where you might have to, like, make the call to where, like, I think I'm ready to die,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna aged to death now.
Yeah.
That would be a freaky thing to have to do, right?
Yeah.
Do you think you'd ever get to that point?
I mean, I can't imagine myself being ready to, like, just walk out on it, But I feel like if everybody I knew did it, everybody I cared about did it, then there'd be no reason to stay. I'd go then.
That's the other crazy thing is, like, if people you knew, like, someone you knew did die in a horrible accident or something, like, you could, like, lose somebody that you've known for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And how devastating that could be.
True.
And it's just like, man, I think there's a lot of story potential for that kind of sci-fi world.
Yeah, for sure. Huh. We got a couple of ideas. We got the chamber. Make that into a business model.
Yeah, let's just, although, like, I don't even know if that's scientifically possible to, like, recreate that kind of pressure that you
Right,
find
yeah.
at the bottom of the ocean or whatever. It is crazy that it would have that effect on his body, though.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, it's
if
very
a positive effect. I would think,
Right.
if anything, a negative one.
Right, you would almost. When you first, like, started talking about that, like, I remember there's that thing where, like, relativity with gravity or whatever, where, like, they say, like, somebody, I forget which direction it goes, where, like, if somebody's in an airplane and somebody's on land, technically one of those people is, like, aging slightly
Yeah.
faster, slightly slower than the other person.
Right, right.
And it was like, I guess if it's gravity that causes that, like, if you're, down in the ocean, like, you would also be affected by that relativity, I would think. Maybe
Man,
I'm wrong.
I can't talk on that. I don't know.
I know it's one of those, like,
That is so abstract to me.
it is. It's one of those crazy things. I probably am getting it wrong anyway. But
I thought it was like the faster you travel, the slower you age. Like the closer you approach the speed of light, the slower time goes, basically.
oh, is that what it is? The speed rather than, like, the gravitational pull?
I'm sure the gravitational pull has something to do with it. It's just that I don't know, man. I can't
Yeah, once
talk
you get into, like, quantum
Yeah.
stuff, it gets silly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all like jargon. It's just so like yeah, it's so abstract and so imaginary, like I don't know what the truth is there. I don't know if they're just making stuff up sometimes.
Have you ever seen Interstellar?
Yeah.
It's like I remember seeing like Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about Interstellar, and he's like, the basic concept is like true that but he's like, he, like basically it happening as fast as it does in Interstellar. Like they're trapped on that one planet for like 3 minutes or whatever,
Yeah.
and it creates that much of a difference. He's like, that wouldn't happen. Like there's probably no place where the relativity would be like that great.
Right.
But still, it's an interesting premise.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, I'm not the biggest like McConaughey fan. Like, he's been good in a couple things, but like that movie, and I'm not someone who really gets like cries at movies, but like it does choke me up a bit, that part where he is like watching the videos of his daughter like aging, and he's realizing that he just like missed her complete childhood, like her complete life, and it's like,
Yeah.
damn, that is like a tough scene.
Yeah. I forgot, when he gets back, how old is she?
Well, when they finally meet, she's older than him,
Okay.
and I mean, she looks like an 80-year-old woman, probably.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew, that sucks. Not quite Ant-Man. Yeah, he didn't go that far.
Although that movie, like, he gets sucked into the black hole, and instead of just like being spaghettied to death, like he
Yeah.
somehow ends up as in a bookcase or whatever.
Yeah. I thought you were supposed to be stretched out to like infinity.
That is what would happen. Like, yeah, he would be dead in a terrible, terrible way, but the movie's got to go somewhere.
Like I heard, like I watched one of those like universe shows, like where physicists talk about it, and from my understanding, like if somebody was sucked into a black hole in front of you, they would look like they were still in the same spot for like a long time, for like forever maybe, but they would actually have been like pulled in like a string and like taken into an infinitely small space or something.
Yeah, I heard they'd be like, squished into a string. I didn't know that they would, from your perspective, look like they were like in the same spot or whatever.
Yeah, like they were just there.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. But who knows? Like, well, they don't know that. They never observed it, have they? No. There's thoughts that like on the other side of a black hole is a white hole. So like that's where like things come out of, like maybe like even big bangs are formed, like, creating new universes from white holes.
So like more than one Big Bang?
Yeah. That's just a theory.
Man, I gotta say, like, I almost hate that space is so big and that like we know there's almost certainly other intelligent life out there, but we'll never know probably.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Like you watch the science fiction like shows of like, Star Trek, Star Wars, the Orville, stuff like that, and you're just like, why can't that be a reality?
Yes.
Where we're going out and we're discovering all this cool shit.
Yeah, like go to more advanced civilizations and be like in wonder of like, wow, these guys
know.
did this. That would be so awesome.
It would be like, and I say it'd be awesome. Like, I'm afraid to even fly in a regular plane. So like, but it doesn't look that like when you see a rocket shuttle taking off, that looks terrifying.
Yeah.
But when you just watch like
Star Trek, they
and
got a
just
whole giant
and they just like
ship.
zoop up there, and
Yeah.
it doesn't look that bad,
Yeah, they're all just walking around fine. They're
Right.
not stuck to the ground or anything.
But yeah, which would you rather like? Would you rather us live in the Star Trekky kind of world where like we've met alien races and we can go to space and explore and stuff, or do you like the idea of a Spider-Verse more, where like we discovered the multiverse and you can actually
Ooh.
travel different multiverses?
I think multiverse. Yeah, because Star Trek is one universe, whereas multiverse you can meet civilizations from so many different places.
That's true, and I guess in one of those multiverses, like they probably did discover like how to fly
Yeah.
to space. So
Yeah,
you probably get both worlds that way.
for sure. Yeah, I'd go with that.
Would you want to meet an alternate version of yourself?
Oh yeah, I'd love to know like what a different version of me would be like. Maybe like certain circumstances would have changed my life and set me on a different path, and that'd be interesting to know.
You find the best one, and then you kill that guy. And take his
Take
place.
his place. Yeah. Yep, that's the move.